Pisces, and thank you for joining me today. I am going to be talking about Buddhist teachings and principles. I don't know too much about Buddhism, but I thought this would be a very relaxing subject to discuss with you today from what I've learned so far and my impressions and thoughts of it. Now, I'm not going to be going in depth in the religion itself. This is not what this video is about. I'm just going to talk about what I like from it and what I learned from it that is valid to my life today and has been for quite some time in this past several years. It's always been something that's drawing me in more than anything. And again, I don't follow it. I'm not a religious person. I don't follow things by the book. Literally, I don't choose to live my life that way specifically for me. If that works for you, good for you. I'm proud of you, but it just does not work for me, right? So, wait, I'm sorry about Rose. I know someone recently said it bothers them, the sound she makes. I just like to film in different locations, and I'm trying to film in as many different new locations as possible with like the new furniture and stuff in the back, so like she can be chatty sometimes, but maybe if I keep it down, she keeps it down too. I don't know. She's very active during the day, and I film during the daytime, so I apologize, but most of my videos from here on out will not be in this space unless she's like really quiet, because I don't want to disturb anyone's peace. Hold on, let me try something. Give me 1 second. Okay, I've tried everything I could think of, but if all else fails, I'm sorry. But hopefully she keeps it down now that she's covered. I'm trialing and erroring new things with her because I don't know what works and what doesn't work with her. But alright, so there are 3 basic principles that I find the most beneficial and peaceful, and that is peace, happiness, or bliss, nirvana, which they usually call it, and detachment. So I'm going to talk about the principle of peace. Actually, that's a lie. I need to talk about detachment first in order to get to true peace and happiness, okay? So make sure you guys subscribe and check me out on TonyBomboni.com to book your own service from me. Please join me on there and help support this channel to continue producing daily content like this for you. Alright, so let's begin. So, in order to truly be happy and truly feel true peace, you need to detach. You need to detach yourself from all things, right? And how can you do that, right? Easier said than done. It will require a lot of meditation. It will require a lot of active training your mind. It will require a lot of letting go, okay? It's going to require you, I'm speaking over my air conditioner, to be a choice, right? Because we are so attached to so many things in this life that it's very hard to let them go, like our material possessions, like money, our house, our partner. We have so many attachments, like, for me, for example, what I struggled with for the longest time was wanting a partner. I wanted a partner so bad that unfortunately, and I didn't realize this until I look back years later, I was letting go of my values. I was selling myself short to just get anyone. I was picky, and, I didn't just pick anyone, obviously, but they just ultimately weren't the right match for me. And so, attachment causes pain. Detachment causes freedom. When you're truly able to detach yourself, you are free. And many may not understand this. You don't have to sell all your stuff and go live in the Tibetan mountains to detach. That's not how it works, because we still have human cravings, human desires and needs, just like anyone else, even the Buddha. But it's an active choice to live this way, to align with the value of detachment, to align with something that you know eventually you will attain or get at least very close to, because most people will never. Because that desire is so strong, it's like an addiction. It's like a gambling addiction, for example, right? It holds you so tight that you just can't let go, right? If your house burned down tomorrow, you'll be upset, you know. You just will lose everything, right? And how can you detach from that? But it is possible, right? This is where I choose to live minimalistically. I choose not to buy as much as I used to purchase physically, you know. And I think we're all transitioning to that day and age anyway, where everything's like virtual on a screen, you know. So it only makes sense. And as we spiritually evolve and become less attached to our physical things, more people are going to be more in alignment to that and be lighter, you know, as we move to a new energy, a new frequency. Everything's lighter, everything is digitized and not a physical printed copy, you know what I mean? So, like even 3D printing is really, not going to be necessary soon. So, and everything's faster, time's going faster, you see. So I think this message may align to people more than ever. So it will be easier for people to detach. And that's where this whole identity of ownership will be dead, you know, in a few years. Because I feel what it boils down to, and many may not understand this, is attachment causes pain, because it's always something that you can possibly lose. Even if you are overly attached to someone you love, as much as some people may hate how this sounds, you know, that can only hurt you in the long run. Because if something were to happen to them, or you guys were to break up, that will just cause a lot more pain on your end. So when you detach, when you focus on releasing yourself from the burdens of that attachment, you find oftentimes more bliss naturally. It may take a while, and this is where it aligns with peace. You may not be at peace with not being at peace, but this girl, she's so loud and chatty. I'm so sorry, really, I am. Because I know I can't please everyone, but yeah. But anyway, so overall, I feel like this is just something that people will grasp with time, because it took me a long time as well, and I'm still working on it. So, detachment makes you feel lighter, it makes you feel free, because you no longer desire anything, and it's in alignment with desires, because desire causes pain too. I desire that partner, I desire that new house, I desire that new car, you see. And there's nothing wrong with desiring, of course. There's nothing wrong with building more, but I feel like most people nowadays just build, you know, the new car, the new house, because they want to prove to themselves and others that they can do it. But at what expense, you know? You're burning yourself out. You're depleting your energy. You're making someone else richer at the end of the day. And so it comes to the point where we have to realize what really makes us happy. And this is where they say with Buddhism, happiness comes from within yourself. Rose. Shh, shh, shh. I don't think she gets that. It doesn't work. Okay, I definitely have to start filming somewhere else from here on out. Thankfully, there's 4 bedrooms in this house. But anyway, so, like I said, where was I? Once we sort of kill off that desire, we are free, because desire holds us back. And it even is in alignment with food, believe it or not, where we have cravings to certain foods that we know are not good for the nourishment of our body. They not only make us feel worse, the constant desire and attachment to eat those meals is making us worse. And it's making us dependent and reliant on something for external validation and happiness. So when you look within yourself for happiness, you find more true happiness than that fake, I just bought a new car, and that happiness goes away in a few days. Happiness. Yeah, that's not real happiness, right? So, or even if you work in a car dealership and you sold a lot of cars today, yeah, that feels amazing, and you probably feel that rush. And then you end up spending it all anyway, or throwing it in a retirement account, never to see it again until you're old, if you even make it that far. Yeah, so my point is, and trust me, I've been there, like, seeing that money sitting in the savings account will only make you happy for about 2 days tops, and then it quickly dies down. So, that doesn't work either. Real happiness comes from you. You have the wealth of millions and billions and trillions of dollars combined. Alright? That's where your true happiness comes from. That's where true peace comes from, knowing that you don't have to constantly work for something that's on a screen, first of all, you know. You don't have to constantly work for your desire, because if you are, you're only feeding the flesh. You're not feeding your spiritual side, and your spiritual side needs more nurturing. So this is why I love these teachings, because it goes so in depth, you know. It's like bread on butter. It's so beautiful, and it works, but it's an advanced art, you know. So you have to melt the butter a certain way, you know. The bread has to be sliced perfectly, otherwise it doesn't work. So this is why, like, even in the Bible it says the path to heaven is very narrow. It doesn't literally mean you're going to burn it out. It means that the path to enlightenment is very slim, because most people don't want to let go of all their attachments, don't want to let go of all their desires. We're so attached to the world. That's why the Bible even says, you know, let go of her, come out of her, my people, right? You know, you need to release yourself from this feminine, divine feminine earth, you know, which is very addicting. Even like a lot of men are addicted to the woman's female part down there, you know. There's a reason. It's the shape of the the serpent's mouth. If you open the serpent's mouth and you look at the top of the serpent's mouth, it's literally the female's part down there. It's that shape exactly to a T. If you cut open a fruit like a strawberry or an apple, you see that same shape. That's why the apple is a metaphor for the temptation of a woman, and any temptation for the matter. So, you know, you have to let that go, and that's a huge desired attachment many people can't let go. Is, you know, even, believe it or not, sex. You know, people are addicted to that, and it's a huge reason why in psychology they've studied that men usually work just for that. You know, they want to impress their wife, they want to impress women in general. They want to be the king of the kingdom and have as many partners as possible and be with whoever they want to be with. And they like that beauty, they like that attraction, you know. So that's why a lot of people do what they do, you know. That's what it really boils down to, because we still have that caveman mind. So becoming more spiritual is about letting that go and realizing that there's more to life than just Humpty Dumpty, make a lot of money, and eat a lot of food. You know, that's a very caveman instinct. Usually witness to someone's life, they're very much still in the 3D. So there's nothing wrong with that, that's a very comfortable life, and that's probably still somewhat a very fulfilling life, although most of those people will end up telling you that it's never enough, or they end up being highly medicated because they're suppressing so many feelings that they never really addressed from childhood or something like that. So or they're drinking their problems away. I've been there too, trust me. So it's a balance. You can still be happy living this 3D life. You can still have fun with this 3D experience. That's why you came here to begin with. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be all zen, meditate all the time, and just, never have a good time. Like, that's not what life's about. I don't completely agree with that either. And this is why most people who break up with their partner go live in the mountains and, live a vegan diet will tell you they ended up bored and coming back to their 3D life. And they realized the answer was, you can apply all these principles to your day-to-day 3D life. You don't have to live like a hermit in the woods, okay? And I'm definitely not encouraging or promoting that. We need people to survive. We need social interactions. But, do we? That's the question. And a part of Buddhist and Zen teachings is asking questions. Why is this? Why does this exist? Is this a chair? But why is this a chair? And asking over and over again, why is this chair here? Like just being more self-conscious, self-aware. It's not so much critically thinking, it's so much then thinking from the heart, right? And when you focus on your heart, you expand your heart awareness, which expands other areas of your life, like your spirituality. And you come to realize after a while, you are this one consciousness. You are not an identity. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's us. It's we. And it's a hive mind. It's a one entity consciousness. And we're all powerfully connected in some way, shape, or form. And when you identify as consciousness, you are reaching enlightenment furthermore. And, when you stop identifying as I and the self, and it's all about me, then you are closer and closer to the foothold of enlightenment. So when it comes to peace, that's when you find more peace, right? And one thing that's helped me is when I am not at peace, I say, I'm not at peace. Okay. I'm not at peace. I just have to admit, I'm not at peace. Maybe you feel better, maybe not. And then I go, I'm not at peace with not being at peace. I'm not at peace with not being at peace. And then I find, I'm not at peace with not being at peace with not being at peace. And I say that over and over again, and I make it more and more and more not at pieces until I become so confused and I completely let go. It's like it just completely makes me forget about peace and be free, Because when you are completely at peace or not at peace, as long as you admit it's like you free yourself from going within, from feeling those feelings. And you notice they just subside, they fade away. So that's helped me with peace a lot. But peace is not just like, oh, I want a quiet day, nothing to distract me or bother me. No, true peace is peace under any situation, any circumstance that befalls you in life. Okay, this is true peace. And yes, you can attain this. You can be so completely indifferent, unbothered, whatever you want to call it. This is attainable. It has been done. You can find it because if you carry with you inside your soul true peace, and that is in alignment with the truth, right? The truth will resonate with you to some degree. It will take practice, it will take rehearsal to figure out what truth is, but it will speak to you in ways like no other. Then, once you are living your life more in alignment to truth, you will find more peace in your life life as a result of living this true existence. Truth is eternity. Truth is freedom. Truth is love. Truth does not look limiting. Truth does not look doubtful or confusing. Truth, you will know what truth is. And part of truth is detachment. Part of truth is letting go of desire. Part of truth is choosing to live a peaceful life, because that's the way. The other ways are more painful. There's so much more pain in other ways of living. You've tried those other ways before. Nothing has worked for you but this. Maybe you haven't tried this yet. Go for it. Try it. See how it works for you. Because I'm telling you, it has worked. So, once you attain this peace and you live vicariously through this peace, you practice this peace, you rehearse day in and day out, living your life with the principle of peace, by choosing peace no matter what, you come to find with time that your life will bring you more happiness than before. But it's not about chasing happiness. Again, chasing happiness is a desire. The desire to be happy, which so many people try to seek, is the biggest lie of all. Because you're never going to get there. You just have to live the life you are living now. And as a result of living the life you're living now, you will naturally find happiness unfold before your eyes. Sometimes it will take a while on your evolutionary journey through this life. And on the path to enlightenment, if that is what you desire, again, that will only give you pain. The more you desire enlightenment, the further you find yourself from it. Because it's about being here in the now. This here and the now, just like this, is so perfect and beautiful as it is. This is your true enlightenment. Enlightenment is realizing that it is here, it is now. All those emotions, all that peace you're looking for, all that happiness, all that bliss, all that joy, you can choose to be in it now, no matter what you're going through. This is true freedom. Not waiting for a day. Maybe when I get this. So many people have this. Maybe when I get that house, I'll feel better. You get the house. You're still not feeling better. Maybe when I get a partner, I'll feel better. You get the most beautiful partner and you marry and have 3 kids. Still not feeling better. It's because you've placed your belief that that thing will bring you happiness. And it comes and it never does. Maybe when I'm famous, on and on I could go. Yeah, so when someone does that, they are doubting their present reality. They're not. It's funny because they're believing in themselves that they can do those things, but they're really actually not believing in themselves because they're going against their perfect being, their perfect inner nature as they are. You're defying what your body is screaming for all along, which is to pay attention to how it is now, not a future event. You can't predict 5-10 years what's going to happen anymore. But you can predict how you're going to feel now. So, what's the point of delaying your happiness? You're only hurting yourself, Delaying it until you get that, until you get that, until you get that. Because let me tell you, it never works. Ever. And it never will. So, just chase now. Chase after the now. Look after the now. And it took me a long time to be present and in the moment. That's something where you just have to put the phone down, look someone in the eye, listen to them, and have a genuine interest in them, And that comes with time. And you have to realize there's many hurting souls. And once we look at them through the eyes of love, and that they're going through their own struggles in their journey of enlightenment too, you'll realize you have it way easier and you're way better off. And it doesn't make you better just because you're enlightened. It's just because you can realize you too were on that journey at one point like they were, and you can have compassion for them, even if they're hate-filled. even if they don't like you, right? The desire to be liked. Again, that's another off-topic subject. But happiness, you don't have to feel happy. I'd rather feel peace than happy, right? Peace is one of the highest vibrational feelings. And so when you at least just get peace, that's so much better than, forcing yourself to feel happy all the time, which is not genuine to who you are, because we are constantly changing and we're constantly processing thoughts and feelings from even years ago. And sometimes they come to the surface and we have to work through them. And you will not feel happy working through those feelings. Sometimes you will be so at peace, you will be bored of the peace. I got to a place in my life where I felt consistent and constant states of peace, where I became bored and needed some stimulation in my life again. So that's also part of the journey. The journey through life is not going to look consistent while we are here. It's a cycle. You go through life in cycles. You have to eventually end up in that enlightened state and then fall back again and do it all over again. Sometimes in the form of multiple lives. So that is what Buddhism basically summarizes and boils down to. There are no words to describe in true context what it's all about. Just like any other belief system, it just requires active belief. That's why it's called a belief system. You have to believe in that system for it to work for you. This is why I do not believe in any specific system. I believe in a little seeds from here, little seeds from there, because I refuse to be hindered to one system and one belief, because that's, to me, very ignorant, and I do not want to be put in a box. I am too free for that. I am too not enlightened. I wouldn't say I am by any means, but too unlimited as soul to be only following one book that was written by God knows who and rewritten by God knows who with God knows what intentions. So anyway, I digress. Once you follow these 3 principles of detachment, letting go of desire, peace, and the principles of happiness, you can look all this up. All the information is online nowadays at your disposal. There are many wonderful teachers that will show you the way, and classes you can take and books you can read. But at the end of the day, take what you will, leave what you won't. Do what works for you and what makes you happy. Don't listen to just what someone says because they have $1 million public speaking contract, or they have 1 million followers. It looks impressive on paper, but at the end of the day, follow your heart, and that will always lead the way. And some people can argue that this belief system is too peaceful, too passive. Society will never get anything done. But that's the point, right? Society as it is operating at the moment in time, as this video is being produced, is dysfunctional. It is producing mental illness. It is producing chaos in our bodily systems. I actually feel sadness even just talking about it. I feel disgust even just talking about it. It is too political. It is too just outright heinous, the way we operate. Our body is not meant to work a 9 to 5, 5 days a week with only 2 weeks off a year. To me, right away, that immediately sounds like a system that is endowed in enslavement, basically what it boils down to. And we have no choice because we are told, especially us millennials, from an early age that you are having no choice but to attend university, to get that diploma, that stupid piece of paper that serves half of people no good anyway because they don't even use it. I used to joke as a kid and say it's as useful as toilet paper, just to wipe with, It's worked for many people and made them well off, fair, and many people do enjoy their jobs. Look, I'm not speaking to the crowd, right? I'm speaking to just a few people here, okay, obviously. If you genuinely have an enjoyment to study something and genuinely enjoy your job, you're doing better than most people. Relax, I'm not talking about you, right? But for the rest who knows something's wrong, who feels something is off, and know that that's not the way, or you were like me, like you never had an interest. You looked at the whole entire book of careers, over 100 careers, like the book was this thick. You flipped through, and you didn't even know what to tell your guidance counselor. What you wanted to do, you just pulled a rabbit out of a hat and made something up just to look normal, just to fit in, right? Basically, you're not here to fit in. We are human beings, not human doings, right? I always say that. Everyone else says that. And it will take a lifetime to self-actualize, to fulfill your needs, to realize your true purpose here. And if this aligns with you, maybe this is part of why you're here. So I'll leave it there. But that's pretty much majority of what I would say about the principles of Buddhism and, how it has applied to me in my life. It worked for me. I could care less if all this is gone tomorrow. All my stuff in a hurricane or something, right? Obviously, I would want my pets with me, of course, right? There's still that desire, that attachment there, a little bit. I've definitely let go of most of it, which made it easier with Boopsie's passing recently. But, there's still a lot that you would hate to lose, and you can't just give it up and let it go. It'd be a true test of time to let that go and truly be okay with it, be at peace with it, But like I said, the argument with society would never get anything done. That's the point, right? It's not to get anything done. It's to just be, to just coexist as humanity, and to just enjoy where we're at now, rather than trying to chase something. It's always something new that we're trying to build and do. And at the cost of what, like our evolvement as a species, maybe technological advancement, perhaps. But why do we always ultimately end up hurting ourselves by necessitating that we need more? All of a sudden the high school diploma wasn't enough. We needed associates, then quickly bachelors, then now we need masters. Soon it's going to be PhD that everyone's going to need. And before you know it, that's not enough. It's never enough, you see. So we're only hurting ourselves collectively by forcing ourselves to conform to a society that no longer works. And this is why the system's crumbling, and I'm so happy it is. I really am. It needs to break. It needs to stop, because it's creating so much havoc in people's bodies. So many more people are becoming ill, and we are not living in alignment with how nature is, right? The birds are not going to overachieve to try to look for more seeds. They always have the same routine, And yes, you can say, all right, we're more advanced than birds, Tony. You can't compare to that, fine. But let me know if you see a lot of sick animals outside. I certainly don't, We are creating problems so that we can medicate ourselves from the problem we've created originally. And then it's not enough, and then we need to ingest more of those things to suppress more problems, and it's never enough, It's not sustainable, and that's why it's crashing. It's breaking apart at the seams. It's crumbling at the foundation. And I feel like the more we are aware, not only ourselves, but ourselves in part of the collective, we are more healing the world through this process. And in return, healing the planet, I would say. So I think I went a little bit deep today. thank you for watching. I hope some of this resonates with you, and let me know your take in the comments. And I will see you all very soon. If you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe if you want more video content like this one, and check me out on TonyBomboni.com, where I can implement some of these teachings, some of this advice into your personal healings and readings. And that definitely helped me become more aware of the healing process, how the body really works when it comes to energy, because we're energy beings, again, not doings. So I will see you all on your own personal video on TonyBomboni.com, links below. Make sure you use that coupon code Tony2 for 20% off. Thank you for your support, guys. I appreciate it all so much. And I will see you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye.